Hi, good evening, or should I say late evening. How are you all? I'm here again, and yeah, later than usual. I have had a full-on day today. Like, when I say full-on, I mean full-on, like non-stop. As soon as my eyes opened, feet hit the floor. It was just ongoing. Nothing stopped. There's lots going on in the summer for me. I've got like my carnival that I'm going to be doing, so I have to practice for that. Obviously I've got to look after my mum, so I had to go around my mum. As soon as I finished my class, I had to go around my mum's and look after my mum. And yeah, in between that, I'm doing stuff for you guys. You know, I'm planning a lot of stuff in the background, which I'm going to come to at the end of this. I'm going to give you a little sneaky peek as to what's coming up in the next month or two for you guys. And yeah, I'm hoping that some of you will be on board. Anyway, we are back here again on Sunday for another episode of Sunday School. And I mean, some of you that haven't watched the previous episodes, if you don't go back and watch them, hopefully you have. We're going back to basics, basically. So that's what's happening. We're going back to basics because a lot of the time we don't fail on the advanced, as I keep saying. We fail on the basics. And you know, these episodes that I've been doing, they are the fundamentals when it comes to self-development and personal well-being, and how you should present yourself. Well, not should, I wouldn't say the word should. I would say it's necessary to present yourself in a certain way. So, last week we talked about values. So if you haven't watched that episode, please go back and watch that episode. And also, let me just say, quickly, all of these episodes are going to be put on YouTube. And then what I'll do is I'll put the YouTube link in here in the group. In terms of everyone, all of the programs have been put on YouTube. So whenever they go on YouTube, I'm going to put the link in the group. Excuse me. Eventually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it into a program. I'm going to, just basically make it into a program. Because at the moment, I've made them into discussion episodes, and later on, I'm going to make it into a proper program. And put it together for people to use, because I think it's needed, all of this basic stuff, because most of the time we're not really focusing on that a lot of the time. Although we might have it in the back of our mind, we're not actually focusing on these items. These are just some of the things that I had to learn in my very early days of personal development. These are the first things that came up. Topics, shall I say, that came up that I actually had to learn early on in my journey. So last week was about values. Today we are going to talk about boundaries. I mean, boundaries is a big one. I mean, I will say it's a big one because it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of you kind of teaching people how to treat you, and you kind of self-respecting yourself. I'm going to constantly say that word, respecting yourself. By putting boundaries in place, you are self-respecting yourself. It's showing people how to treat you. And you're kind of not being strict with them, but you're just showing them, this is who I am, this is how I do things, and that's the way I like to, that's the way I like to do things, basically. And you're also teaching people how to treat you. I think that's the main key thing. You're treating people how to treat you. So before I go on, please do, if you're coming on this live, I can't see anybody on this live at the moment. Please do give me a hashtag live. Come and say hello to me. If you're coming on the replay, do still say hello to me. Do give me a hashtag replay and drop me a comment. What were your thoughts? What was your main takeaway? I'd love to know. I'd love to know, because it's not just me. I like to think of this as a dialogue. I'm talking with you, not me talking at you. It's not that. I'm talking with you. So, I've got some discussion points here to talk about. Sorry about that. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet, because it is like in London town. It is 9:17. So I hope it's not past any of your bedtime. But you know, I've made a commitment and I'm going to stick to it. So let's jump in. I'm trying to fix this a bit. Got some light here to make it look a bit brighter in the room, because the sun's gone down a little bit. So, first discussion point, we're talking about boundaries are a form of self-love, not rejection. So when you put boundaries in place, sometimes the other people might get offended by you doing that. You know, they might think you're being a bit strict, and they might take it personally, basically. So that could happen a lot of the time. But obviously, when they come to understand you and your ways and how you do things, that's no longer the case, because they understand who you are and what you are about. So when you say no from a place of love, you're actually saying yes to yourself, to you. You're actually saying, I'm saying no because I know my capacity. I'm just giving an example out at the top of my head. I'm saying no, I cannot take on this course anymore. Any more programs or any more study programs, because I know my capacity and I need to just say no to this course, because you might feel pressured to buy something, and you already know you've got about a couple of courses on the go that you've already purchased, and you're still trying to finish those, and then you're thinking, you really like this offer, what they're offering, this course, this program, and then you still want to go and buy that. But sometimes you have to be strict with yourself. It's about committing to what you've already got, and then putting a boundary in place. I think I can think of a better example for that. So I'm thinking, when you're saying no to something from a place of love. So it could be, sorry, got a tickly throat. Now you could be putting up with somebody, let's say they're being a bit intrusive. Could be one. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I don't know where that came from. Let me get a drink. Oh, sorry about that. Don't know where that came from. I'm feeling a bit okay now, kind of. So let's say somebody is trying to intrude, or let's say it's one of your clients. Let's say one of your clients keep trying to contact you, and they're contacting you sporadically. That means that they're just going into your inbox. They're going into WhatsApp and sending you messages, constantly sending you emails or whatever the case may be. And then you're feeling quite overwhelmed. You're feeling that, you're feeling drawn to compelled to support them and help them. But then, you know that you've got, it's past your bedtime, and you know that you've got like bedtime goals, but still you decide to get on a call with them because they need help with X. I'm just making it up. But that's not on, because what that does, it's showing, you're teaching your clients that, I could jump on a call. They'll so and so would jump on a call with me anytime, and they feel obligated to serve me, to teach me. They'll just do anything for me, and then how long's a piece of string? They'll ask you for many things after that. Following that, if you do one thing, a drop of a hat for them, they will ask you to do everything and anything, and then you'll feel obligated, and then the guilt will start setting in. So in the beginning, when you start a program, or when you are training your members or your community that you have, you put boundaries in place. You let them know when you're available and when you're not available. In other words, when can they contact you? When can they contact you? How can they contact you? And when's a good time? When will they get their messages back? When will they get their questions answered? That kind of thing. That's how it works. You got to communicate that to them, because otherwise, there's no boundary there, and then they just feel they can do what they want. Try messaging you 10 times. However, I'm not saying that I've never done that before. I have gone into a mentor's inbox and sent him a message, but then I know that I'm very aware of the fact that they will not get back to me till such time, because I know that they're not going to be answering. Let's say after 5 o'clock in the evening, they're not going to be answering any messages at that time. I know that probably by the morning, the following day, that's when they'll get back to me. So yeah, I'm aware of their boundaries that they've put in place. So boundaries are not barriers. They're meant to shut others out. Boundaries are not barriers meant to shut others out. So they're not there to shut people out. They're not there for that reason. Although it might come across that way to, the person who you put boundaries. But that just means that you're self-respecting your time, your space, particularly your time, I would say. And like I said, you are teaching them how to treat you. That's what you're doing. You're teaching them how to treat you. And so with that, I would say it's mainly about the time, when you are not at someone's beck and call. They can ring you. Let's say they'll ring you up, and obviously that's not going to be a client ringing you up, but let's say someone's ringing you up constantly all the time. Maybe you'll let them know your availability hours. Let them know after a certain time you won't be taking any more calls. Communicate that. Some people have a voicemail on their phones, don't they? They have a voicemail on their phone. So that lets people know. Use the voicemail and let them know that you're not available at certain times. So they can leave a message. Give them that option to leave a message. So yeah, that is it's not meant to shut people out. When you put boundaries in place, you shouldn't feel bad for it, because you are protecting your time, and you're just communicating. This is when I'm available. This is when I'm not. I won't put up with this, and this will. Or you'll say something in your. I'm trying to think of a situation where you can say. It could be that someone's swearing around in your presence. Let's say, they're saying a word that you don't particularly like, and it's not a very nice word. It's a rude word basically, and this person has that in their language. Not that you'd be around people like that anyway. I don't expect you to be around people that swear and things, but that's probably not a very good example. But what I would say is, if you could turn around and say to them, "I'm not going to tolerate that." You could be thinking it first of all, but then really you should confront them, because it might be something where you can't avoid being around them. I don't know. It might be a work colleague. I've had that situation before, actually. One of my colleagues, not that she swears, but she used words that I didn't particularly like, and it did kind of aggravate me a little bit when she was like very aggressive kind of manner, and I was like, well, that's not professional. That was my response. Like, that behavior, I'm not going to sit and watch it, you know. What I did was actually I quietly removed myself, because I thought I'm not going to be around that. And there was a lot of onlookers, colleagues that were working as well. And I'm thinking to myself, are they going to say nothing? Because that's why people like that get away with that kind of behavior, because people actually allow them to be like that. And I would say some of the onlookers or people that are around there, they like to play ignorant, but because I understand they don't have the front to face the person or confront them and say, look, you know, that's not acceptable to behave like that. Me personally, they'll know by my behavior. I will remove myself, because I'm not going to be sitting around that sort of stuff. So that in my behavior, I show people I don't tolerate that kind of thing. I don't tolerate it, and I'm not going to sit there and just tolerate it. And that tells them something about me, you know, that I won't tolerate anything like that. So boundaries are a bridge that reconnect you with your true self. So when you put boundaries in place, what it does, it kind of draws you in towards thinking about yourself and what you expect, what kind of expectations that you would like. You know, it makes you start reflect on what you would like for yourself. You know, it makes you kind of zone in a bit on when, you know, when you put those boundaries in place. It does give you some space to think about. Yeah, I don't want this to happen in this way, and I how would I like it to be, you know, sort of thing. It gets you to reflect, definitely. It does get you to reflect. I mean, I can tell you a story about early on in my personal development, when I first started on my journey. I'm talking like way back. I'm talking like 8 years ago. That was a while ago. To me, it seems like a long time ago. And actually, the reason why I say it seems like a long while ago is because I was a completely different person back then. I wasn't the same person I am now on camera right now. For one, I was camera shy. And for two, I had really low self-esteem. And I didn't know it at the time. And I mean, I don't think it's got nothing to do with boundaries. But what I do remember, I was part of a program, at very first program online, back in 2015, and I remember being part of a group, like a group of people on the program. They were all on the program, and I remember I had to go live on Facebook. Lives was completely different in those days. We didn't get the red signal like we do now. We had like this blue thing. The live was blue basically. But what I do remember is that when I had to go live, I don't know, I just felt really uncomfortable. And the fact of the matter was, I really had low self-worth. I had low self-esteem, low self-worth, and I felt so subconscious of people. I felt exposed. That's what it was. I felt so exposed. And I remember the image that I had in my mind at the time. I had an image in my mind of how I saw myself, and the image was a scared little girl, my 10-year-old self, let's say, basically huddled up in the corner, just trying to hide myself. That's what it felt like. Funnily enough, you know, that's what I think my behavior kind of resembled that, you know, like I was just like, oh no, I don't want to go on live, and, you know, but like I said, I had this image of myself as a 10-year-old, basically just huddling in the corner and just hiding, hoping no one would see me, and that's what it felt like. So I felt so exposed. But funny enough, that was the turning point for me, and I realized that I needed work on myself. So that was the turning point where I knew I needed to do some work on myself. And yeah, here I am today, living proof. Let's move on. Where are we? So setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away. It's about drawing people closer to you, closer to your own center. Yeah, let me just go that way and rethink that a bit. So setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away. It's about drawing people closer to you. So I suppose in a way that kind of, I suppose that's in a way that what that means is you're drawing people closer to who you are, aren't you? So when you set boundaries, people become more tuned in and understand you a bit better. That's how I understand that. They understand you, your mannerisms. They understand what's expected from you. They understand the way you do things, you know. So that kind of draws people into more understanding you as a character when you put boundaries up, and that really does help. And I mean, you're doing yourself a favor as well as the people that you're surrounding yourself around, because they're getting to know you better that way, aren't they? Okay, so that was so point number 2. So your energy is sacred, and so you need to protect it, basically. You know, your energy, this is a big one. I mean, you know, the energy part is such the running theme through everything. Everything is energy, isn't it? Let's just face it. Everything is energy. And, you know, when we put the boundaries in, I see the boundaries as structure. It's, we are energy. You know, we are living form of human beings, obviously. But we are made up, we are made up of energy. You know, but obviously we're made up of atoms and particles, but our body is energy. We have energy in our body. But how we govern our energy is up to us, how we use it. I'm using my energy right now talking to you guys because I love talking to you guys. I love spending time doing this. This is what, you know, this is what fires me up, just to be giving you guys value and talking to you and having discussion. The energy part, when I'm studying this at the moment, the energy part, there's a scientific thing about it, and it's like, I just understand it fully now. There's certain things that I've been studying, and I understand a lot of it, what we have to do in our life each and every day. It's all about energy. It's all about our energy. And if we thought in that way, I'm telling you now, your life would be so much easier. I mean, I'll give you an example. I kind of say things to myself like, let's say somebody wanted me to, oh no, that's it. Let me give you another example. Let's say I walked in on a situation, a given situation where it was maybe concerning issues that were going on. I don't know, let's say 2 people having an argument. I'm trying to think of a real situation where I was in on a situation where I had to, because I've got a huge awareness, I'm a very conscious person. In my mind, I would say, I'll give you an example. Okay, years ago, my son was with a childminder. He was about 9 years old then. But yeah, he wasn't particularly responsible. So I had to put him with a childminder for a little while, for about a year. And I remember the childminder. We had our differences, and yeah, there was something about her that didn't quite get. But yeah, one day, long story short, I had to go and pick my son up. And I don't know, something, when I was on my way to pick up my son, something dropped in my spirit. And it was the kind of thing where you just know when something's not right. You know, something in my spirit said, something's not right with the childminder. Something's not right. Something's not going to be right when you get there. But anyway, it was kind of a thing where when I got to pick up the childminder, to pick up my son, I was expecting something. I was expecting it. So I knocked on the door knowingly that something was going to happen. So she came to the door, answered the door, and when she came to the door, she had a phone in her hand, talking to someone on the mobile phone. And then she turned her back, still in conversation. She opened the door, she turned her back, still in conversation on the phone. I came in, and then I walked in. I saw my son sitting there with her little girl and everything. Basically, she put the phone down. And then in that time, my son was getting his things together and he's getting his coat and everything. And then I'm not going to say what she said, but she just basically let off on me with all these colourful words, which I'm not going to repeat. And I think I just stood there, and in my mind I said, do not respond, because, you know, this is not for me to respond. Because in my mind I was saying, this is not about me, it's about her, what she's going through. So I didn't react. I just basically looked at her, and I said, oh, obviously this is not a time for us to have a discussion. I said in a calm voice, but I will speak to you another time when you're feeling a bit better. And then I turned to my son and I said, Liam, get your coat, we're going now, in a calm voice. And then my son got his coat, because by that time he'd already got his bag and he had his coat, putting it on. And then I took his arm and we walked out to the door. And in the time when I was walking out the door, she was walking behind me and just railing off her mouth. Very, like, it was like she was possessed, and railing off her mouth. And I just said, my voice, the voice in my head said, just walk out calmly, don't respond to her, just walk out and don't turn back. And I just walked out with my son, and we just walked out, and that was it, really. Long story short, what happened in the end was I sent her an email, and I sent her last check, well, partly paid. She didn't get for the full month because it was mid-flow in the month that she was looking after my son. And basically I just paid her what I owed her, sent her some Bible script saying, you know, I can't remember the one, but basically take the thorn out your eye before you start telling people about themselves, or whatever what the Bible script says. You know the one that says don't point finger at other people until you take the thorn out your eye, or whatever. But anyway, I just sent her the check I owed her for the time that she looked after my son, and basically I just bid her farewell. Thing is, I could have reported her, but I didn't. I didn't report her at all. Because you know why I could have reported her? Number one, my son was there. Number two, she had a 2-year-old little girl. Her 2-year-old little girl was there that witnessed that. And I could have reported her, because childminders are not supposed to be acting that way, in that kind of behaviour, and looking after children. Do you know what I mean? But I didn't do that. I just thought, you know what, leave it to God. Vengeance is his. Let him deal with it. You know what I mean? I just paid her what I owed her, and I left. So your energy. So in that instance, I just protected my energy. I protected my energy, and I did not respond to that kind of, oh, it was horrible. It was ranting behaviour. You know, it was horrible. But you know, the funny thing is, I've seen her since, years later. I've seen her, and it's as though she don't remember. I think she does, but I don't know what was going on with her then. But she never talks about it. But we say hello and have a little chit chat, but that's it. But it's like she don't remember. After that, I had to block her off of my social media, block her everywhere. I blocked her number, everything, because when you're dealing with people like that, I don't know what that kind of behaviour is, but you don't want people like that on your case, because I don't know. She could ring me up one day and start harassing me. I don't know what she could do. But it's better that I know what she's like now. So yeah, what does it say here? So we're talking about energy. You are not here to be everything to you're not here to be everything to everyone. You have a sacred purpose, not a people pleasing assignment. I like that one. Do you like that? So let me repeat that again. You are not here to be everything and to everyone. You have a sacred purpose, not a people pleasing assignment. I like that, because instantly that makes you focus, because you know exactly why you're here. You know your assignment. I call it assignment because we all are here for a purpose. Whether we know it or not, we are all here for a purpose. So this is how I govern my life right now. Yes, I have other family issues going on right now. My mum's not well, so all of our siblings, me being the oldest, are looking after my mother right now. But you know what? I go in there, I do what I need for my mother, and I come out. Any other things that come into play, my siblings like to squabble a lot. They like to bicker a lot. They like to squabble. They like to point finger, like to be critical. I ignore the whole of it. I ignore all of it, because I cannot afford to get into an argument, get into a confrontation here, because if I did that, I would be stressed out. Do you know what I mean? My energy would just be zap, 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 zap. You know, so I ignore all of that and I just think, right, go home, come on alive with you guys. That's what I was thinking today, because I went to my mother's just to give her a dinner, to give her a meal, made the meal, sat there and let her feed herself, because she can feed herself even though she's had a stroke. She can still feed herself. And I just sat there and spoke with her while she had her meal. And then obviously I washed up and everything, and then I came home. My sister came, and then she was like, oh, just saying all these little bickering things, trying to trigger me, and, you know, she tried, you know, I don't have to talk to her unless I have to. That's what I'm saying to myself. I'm not being rude to her or anything like that, but everything she's saying is trying to get me to react. Oh, do you know where this is? No idea. She's getting short answers from me. I'm not having a conversation with her because I don't trust her and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, that's just an example of my energy and how I use it throughout the day, because we all have an assignment. You have one too. I know you do. Like, comment below. Let me know what your assignment is. I know what my assignment is. It took me a long time to figure it out, but I got there in the end. So I know exactly why I'm here. So yeah, that part about people pleasing, I used to have this saying, when I was growing up, you know, when I was probably in my young adulthood, people used to say, oh yeah, we don't like you, we don't like you. I'm just trying to give an example there. They would say things like, oh, you know, why are you always like this and this and this. Even learners, you know, they might think, oh, miss, why are you so strict, this and this and this, or whatever. And then, you know, I turn around and say to them, I'm not here to be liked. I've got a job to do. That's it. You know, I'm not here to be liked. I didn't come to this world to be liked. You know, so all that people pleasing aside is not, it doesn't work for me. I don't do that. I just don't, you know. I see it go on a lot though. I'm in certain groups, and I see the person who runs the group basically just pleasing people. And I'm like, yeah, anyway, that's not how I'm going to run my group. It's not how I run my group, you know, because I see that she's, not naming names, but I see that they are basically exhausting themselves. Just like, it's like they've got a point to prove. Oh, I'll just help you. I'll help you because you're so and so, because you're this. You know, the person's got letters after their name or whatever the case may be. But that's another show. You are not a public charger. Here, others are not entitled to constant access to your energy. So, one of the examples that I use there, I'll just repeat that again. So, you are not a public charger. Others are not entitled to constant access to your energy. So, you know, imagine if you were a public charger. Oh, God. I think you'd have to really monitor it, wouldn't you? You'd have to monitor that charger, wouldn't you? You wouldn't be plugging it in every willy-nilly, would you? Because the charger will stop working after a while, wouldn't it? So, you know, you don't want to be plugging in your charger constantly because, you know, the battery would drain for one, wouldn't it? So you just got to be careful how you use your energy. And that's just saying it in a nutshell. I like the analogy of public charger. I think I'm going to have a vision of that from now on when I'm deciding whether to use my energies for certain things. One of the main ways that I govern my energy is because when obviously of a given day, of each given day, I've got my priority assignments to do. So that is obviously feeding into the vision of what's got to happen for that month, for that year. It's a yearly vision, isn't it? But then obviously I break it down into each month, what I'm meant to be doing, and then that's broken down into days leading up to that part of the vision. So yeah, I govern my priority goals each day, which is in line with the vision. That's how I know how to use my energy, because once those things are done out the way, the priority goals, then everything else is second. Everything, including my family. You know, obviously, exceptionals would be if it was an emergency. The sun's gone down now. Yeah. Can you all see me still on camera? I know it's not bright as it was. But yeah, the sun's gone down. I would put the lights on in this room. I've got a lamp over there. But the light's above my head. So it doesn't actually... yeah. I'll be like a silhouette or whatever. So... yeah, I hope some people are watching me. I can't see anybody watching me yet. Last week, and I've got to go back to them questions, you know. Last week, I know that, so I looked up after the live, I saw that somebody was watching. And I'm hoping that someone's watching now. And then I'll go back after this live and I will comment on the comments afterwards. By the way, I put all the discussion points above this live. I might have to edit a bit after, but I put it all above this live, so you'll see everything that I'm talking about above this live. Yeah. So your energy is divine, is a divine currency, precious, powerful, and not to be wasted. So your energy is true because it is. You know, it's about our energy, and if we exhaust ourselves in situations that we don't have no business in, I say it like that because it's true. Sometimes we might involve ourselves in things that doesn't concern us. That's why I stay clear of things like arguments or any kind of confrontation. I stay clear of it. I mean, the first thing I would ask is this part of my vision? What place do I have here? You know, I'd say that with any given situation, what place do I have here in this situation, in these circumstances? You know, am I to respond in what way? You know, this is the kind of thing I'm sort of saying to myself. If it does not, if I don't serve no purpose, or if it doesn't relate to my vision or anything, you know, am I here to give something to somebody? Then I just will not respond, and I'll remove myself, you know, because it's not meant for me. You know, I'm not meant to be there. Because sometimes what happens is you get these distractions that pop up throughout the day. And so it's about you saying, right, well, I'm going to stay focused. And when these unexpected distractions pop up, you already know that you're going to get these distractions. You don't know what they're going to look like, but it's like you're going along a journey in a car in the road, and then suddenly a tree falls over in the road, and it's just looking to see how you're going to respond. That's all it is. It's a test. A lot of it's a test. You know, I've had so much experience with all of these things. I know the plan of the enemy all the time. Well, you know, I kind of know what's going to happen. I know that people are being used. Sometimes, you know, they got certain spirits on them. Another show, I'm not going to go into it right now. But yeah, you just got to really be protective of your energy, because that's what it's about. That's what it's about, you know. I'm always kind of wary of my energy, because if I start getting low in my energy, then I'm wary of it, you know. You know, start questioning myself, like, why do I feel like this all of a sudden? What's going on here? You know, what's that emotion? You know, without boundaries, you risk spiritual bankruptcy, drained, depleted, and disconnected. So when you don't have any boundaries in place, because remember, we're still talking about boundaries. We don't have any boundaries in place. You do risk spiritual bankruptcy, and yeah, sadly, some people, it could really get to them to a place where it affects their mental health eventually, and sadly, you know, they become what's the word? They become detached from themselves, and they just become drained in their character, and you know, they're not present anymore. So yeah, that's to do with certain people that probably have illnesses, psychological illnesses. So yeah, you just got to really protect yourself. You've got to think about yourself. and how your well-being and mental health is more important than anything. You know, that is, you are number one. And that's how you got to look at it. So, you know, so it's good to affirm your energy. That means maybe you have an affirmation of some sort that you can use to remind yourself each day about your energy. I've got one here. It says, my energy deserves reverence. I'll repeat that. My energy deserves reverence. And that means it deserves like proper focus, proper attention. You know, give it the attention it deserves. You know, your energy. You know, and how you use your energy is up to you. You know, you decide how you use your energy. No one can make you do anything. It's up to you. So let's have a look at another talking point. So another talking point we've got here is, where is it? Sorry, my computer's a bit funny. Boundaries teach others how to treat you. That's what I said before. Boundaries do teach others how to treat you. You're actually teaching them how to treat you, because like I said, they're understanding you better because of your boundaries. They're getting to know you better as a character because of your boundaries. People often mistreat you out of malice. They do so because you haven't taught them how to treat you. I like that one, because I can actually speak from experience. When people mistreat you, what that is, because I have a friend, and she used to always complain about how her siblings, how her friends treat her. Oh, but they keep doing this, they keep doing that, this and this and this. And I would say to her, I did say to her, the reason why they treat you like that is because you allowed them to. That's right, you've given them permission to do that. You haven't turned around and said to them, no, that's not acceptable. So they believe that they can do that. You know, because she says things like, oh, they keep ringing me up and asking for this, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. But then I said to her, why haven't you just told them that you're not available after a certain time then? You know what I mean? Let them know. You know? And yeah, she had to learn it. It was a tough one for her, because she wasn't used to being the one to initiate things and to say, look, I don't like the way you do X. I remember years ago, when I was about mid-20s at the time, I used to have a friend, and very good friend actually, but I don't know, I think a lot of people used to think, oh, Lynette will do this, Lynette will do that. You know, I was very kind of not naive. Well, was I naive? I was naive at one side, but I think I was a little bit gullible. I used to believe people a lot, you know, very just used to believe a lot of what people said, basically. But I think people must have mistaken that for me being, I don't know, just simple-minded or whatever they thought of me. I don't know what they thought, but they used to basically take advantage of my kindness a lot of the time. They took advantage of it. And I remember one day my friend was driving and I was sat in the passenger seat, and she turned around and said to me something like, I can't remember what it was, but she might have been asking me for something. And I turned around and I said, oh, no, I don't really want to share that with you, to be honest. I think I need to keep that for myself, or something like that, I said to her. But you know what happened? She kind of looked at me as if to say, like, how come you're saying that? Like, as if to say, oh my God, Lynette's got a mind all of a sudden. Like, she's choosing not to do as I say anymore. And, you know, I think that was the first haha moment for me, where I kind of wised up a little bit, because I thought to myself, she's taking advantage of me. And that's what she was doing. Even though, I wasn't aware of it, but then what was happening there was I was realizing that she was taking advantage of me, and I basically started to put boundaries in place, and she was like, wow, like Lynette's starting to think, boy, she's wising up. I can't treat her like that no more. But yeah, that was back then. I had to learn hard. I had to learn the hard way. If you don't enforce your standards, like that one, if you don't enforce the standards, you're quietly giving permission for your peace to be disrupted. So true. So true. If you don't enforce your standards, you do have standards. I have standards. We all should have standards. I think this thing should be taught in schools. Don't you agree? If you do not reinforce your standards, you're quietly giving permission for your peace to be disrupted. And it's so true. I had to do that recently with my family because, like I said, we're all looking after our mother. And I think what they would do, and they're trying to use me as the go-between. And at first it was, or use me as a punch bag. That's what they were trying to do. So it would be like certain snips here, snips there, punch me there, all of these things, I'm talking like they're verbally just saying things, but I got to a point where I thought, you know what, I'm not putting up with this anymore. So what I did was, we were in a WhatsApp group, and I just put something in a WhatsApp group, something to, similar words to, I am not going to respond to any of your X, Y, and Z, this and this and this, until you can approach me with this kind of manner. I will not respond to X, Y, and Z. I will not be responding. So basically, I just told them, not responding to any rudeness, not responding to any of this. The only way you address me is if you are talk to me about X, Y, and Z. Other than that, not responding. I just told them because I thought, I'm not listening to that. I'm not having any of it. So they knew exactly where I stood. And basically, they understand that I wasn't going to listen to it. So they didn't have a choice but to understand, this is what I'm telling you. I'm not putting up with it anymore. So there we have it. We're just getting down to another one. So that's a good one. I like that one. I hope you guys take notes of some of these, because do further study, because remember, I'm only doing a surface thing here. It's nothing deep. It's just like touching on certain bits. And remember, as I said, it's a discussion point. I'm talking with you. That's what I want to do, talk with you. Hopefully, one day I hope that I can see the comments. I can actually talk with people. You teach others how to love you by the way you love, honor, and respect yourself. So, however you present yourself, and however you carry yourself, however you look after yourself in whatever way, that's how you teach people how to honor you and respect you as a person. You're demonstrating that to how you present yourself, to how you behave towards people. Even if they are being rude to you, you still present yourself in a respectable way, in a way that you are, showing love to yourself. Like I said to you, when I walked in on the childminder that time, I didn't start ranting back at her, because number one, like I said, I'm reserving my energy. Number two is that's not the way I behave anyway, because I'm a respectful person and a professional person, and I don't want my son to see me in that state for sure. Do you know what I mean? So I totally agree with that one. That one is a must. You teach others how to love you by the way you love and honor yourself. So yeah, it's a big one. Do look over these notes. Your boundaries are your instructions for how others are allowed to engage with your energy. So it gives them an indication, doesn't it? It gives them an indication on how they interact with you, how they can approach you about something. It really does give them a lot. So important to have boundaries. I don't know why this sort of thing isn't taught. Maybe I should do something about it. Maybe I should, start teaching things like this. I don't know. Maybe there's some social stories out there that I'm going to do some research about it. I will do some research. So the next talking point is guilt is not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's a sign you're growing. So yeah, I mean, I suppose involving, when you look at that and link it with boundaries, you know, you could put these boundaries in place and you might feel guilty at first because you're not used to doing it, let's say, and you might feel a bit bad for doing it, you know, oh, I feel a bit bad because I shouldn't have really spoken to him like that. I've got bedtime goals. You know, he wanted to just come in and have a cup of tea with me, but I said to him, no, I've got bedtime goals, and and that's it. You might feel a bit bad for doing that, but it's needed, you know. And obviously, when you are putting that boundary in place, you are saying what you're saying. It's you've matured, haven't you? You're a mature person, so you're growing, and you're saying, no, I've got an early night and I've got bedtime goals. You're not actually going to say I've got bedtime goals, because who knows what bedtime goals are? They look at you funny and think, bedtime goals? What's that? Sort of thing. But you know it in your mind, but you just know not to, just honor yourself, what you said you were going to do for yourself, basically. The tightness in your chest when you say no is, so this is about the word no, isn't it? So the tightness in your chest when you say no is not a warning. It's a old programming trying to keep you small and safe. So when you feel guilty because you said no to something, or you said no to somebody about something, and you feel like bad, you just feel bad for that, for saying no. It's basically like it is an old program trying to keep you small. I used to feel bad, when I used to sort of say certain things, especially when I used to say things to my son that that I felt bad. Or he used to try to put me on a guilt trip as well. But then I thought, you know what? It's for his own good. I don't feel bad. It's for his own good. So sometimes, you just got to recognize that some of the hardest decisions are what you make is as a parent is about your child. But you've just got to be strict with yourself. You just got to think, right, okay, it's for their own good, and I'm going to stick to what I said. Guilt is not your truth. It's just the echo of a past version of you who didn't have the boundaries. So the guilt, they're naturally not just going to one morning wake up and think, especially if you're not used to having boundaries, you're not just going to wake up and think, right, I'm just going to put this boundary in place. I'm trying to think of an example of a boundary you put in place suddenly. You could be like, okay, let me give you an example. Let's say if I said I could get angry with my siblings in terms of how we look after our mother, and I could just say, right, you know what, I've had enough, I'm just gonna not go around there anymore and just not do nothing anymore. But the mature side with me would say, you know what, yes, they are getting to me a little bit, but what I need to do is I need to just put some guidelines down and let them know that I'm not going to put up with this anymore. This is just an example. I'm not going to put up with this anymore. And I'm teaching them that this is not acceptable anymore by me. That's what I'm doing. I'm teaching them, basically. And that's just me. Like I said, I am trying not to feel bad. Because even if I did say, right, I'm not going to look after my mum anymore, of course I'm going to feel bad for saying that. But if I stop and I think, right, how can I make this work so that I don't feel bad? So, yeah, just tell them. Because it is an old program. It is an old program. The old program would be, I'll tell you what the old program would be. The old program would be my 10-year-old self. It would be my 10-year-old self saying, you know what, I'm fed up with this, blah, 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 blah. 10-year-old, man, she just tries to creep in sometimes. And the 10-year-old has got an attitude. And, oh my God, 10-year-old has got me into trouble so many times. And I do try to put it on hold, you know, I try to quiet it. It's like, come on now, you can't be. I say, this is me talking to myself. And especially if I get a situation where I'm like, I just don't like the situation. 10-year-old starts to creep in, and then the attitude starts to rear its ugly head of the 10-year-old. And then I'm thinking, you know what, girl, you can't be talking like that in your head. You cannot be saying that, you know. And I just think, right, just wind your neck in, you know, because you can't be like that. And so I have to think in a mature way, you know, and yeah, just try and be a bit mature. That's what I try to do. Because I constantly just having these inner conversations with myself, you know, trying to stop that 10-year-old from getting hold of my life again, like she did before. Oh gosh, I'm trying to... So guilt is not your truth; it's your ego from the past version of you. So yeah, the 10-year-old had an ego, definitely. Oh goodness me, what's going on? This computer's just gone a bit mad. Oh dear. Right, we're nearly there. We're near the end now. Oh dear. Sorry, my computer's just done a whammy on me, as it does. Computers, don't they? Can't rely on them. Better talk nice, otherwise it might just go vex on me. That version of you was surviving, not thriving. It's time to let her go. So, you know, I was just talking about my 10-year-old, and yeah, that version of me was just surviving, not thriving. It's time to, I let go of her. But, you know, every now and then I just let her know that I've got this. I don't need you to come out and show me any other way. But, you know, I've got this, you know, 10-year-old. I don't need you to do anything other than just observe and see how it's done properly. Choosing yourself now means releasing guilt and embracing growth. So when you put the boundaries in place and you release that guilt that you once had, that was once there before, it means you are embracing the growth. You've accepted that you're not going to be that way anymore. And then only from that decision that you have made, then you will grow. Because actually, a lot of these situations that we have to incur, if we do not learn the lesson, some of you will know this, I know some of you are deep in your personal development, it will rear its ugly head again, and you will have to learn it again and again and again until you get it. You know, hopefully. Most of us should learn. It's a natural thing for human beings to learn. Okay, we're on the last talking point here. Boundaries create space for expansion, not limitation. So boundaries are really good because what that does, I'm quite grateful for the situation that has presented itself with me and my family, because what that's done, it's really kind of helped me to see, number one, I see what they're all about. Number two, it's kind of brought one or two of us closer together, whereas before I wasn't actually talking to that member of family. But because I have started exercising my boundaries, you know, with the situation with my mother, it's brought one or two of us closer, and we're starting to communicate. They're still having mood swings, which is what I call it, because they've never really had they're not aware of certain things as yet. But yeah, I'm kind of like more compassionate and patient with them, I think, and it's just presented itself as helping me to come to terms with their journey and what they've got emotional feelings about, obviously, what's going on with my mum. So, you know, I have to be knowing that it's not just me that's hurting, it's them as well. So yeah, it's allowed me to accept that about them. So what's this one? Setting a boundary doesn't restrict your life, it refines it. So, which is true. I mean, when you set a boundary, it doesn't restrict your life at all. It might at first feel like it's a bit of a rigid thing to do. You know, you might just put, you know, this and this and this in this place, and you know, you might feel, oh God, you know, I don't really like the idea of that being like that, because it means that so and so can't come and see me anymore, or whatever the case may be. But you know what? It does refine. It helps you to focus, definitely. I can definitely say that from my experience. Just by putting these boundaries, it just helps me to prioritize what's really important for me. It helps me to, you know, focus on the most important things that I need to be happening in my life. And it helps me to craft my life in the way that I want it. It really does help. So yeah, it really does help. Boundaries help you create space for what's real, sacred, and aligned with your truth. So when you put these boundaries in place, it basically does open up the space that you need for your sacred alignment. I mean, I think that when my mother got unwell, I think I did kind of jump in with both feet with supporting her and looking after her. I think I was there for 2 weeks when she first came out of hospital. Like every day I was around there basically looking after her. And I didn't get worn out or anything like that. But I do remember thinking, I think it was probably mid-flow in the second week that I was looking after her. I remember thinking, you know what, I shouldn't be just doing this. I shouldn't be just solely giving too much time here, because I remember what I realised was that half my stuff, my life that was going on, and my activities that I needed was not being done. I remember thinking, if I carry on like this, I'll be way behind with what I need to get done. So I said, right, okay, I've got to stop, and I've got to let them know this is the days that I'm going to be there, and that's it. So I had to just, you know, I just jumped, like I said, I just jumped in with both feet, and I didn't think. All I thought is, oh, you know, I think my emotions were at the forefront of my decision making. So I had to just say, no, mentally, that's not my capacity. It would not work. My energy cannot be given all there all the time. There's 4 other siblings that can do their job there as well, not just me. So boundaries, they don't make your world smaller. They make your world spiritually stronger. That's what it does. And it's true. It really is true. You know, it does kind of help you to, you know, be well with yourself, and basically just know that you know, you've made this decision and it's for your own good. And it just helps you in the long run to be a happier person, to be honest. Boundaries are an act of clarity and elevation, not limitation. So I think it goes back to the first one. It does give you clarity. Always. It will always give you clarity. You know, you'll be consciously aware that things are kind of evolving. Once you made that decision, things will kind of open up for you in the way that it should, you know. Law of attraction and all that, you know. It just opens itself up, you know. So yeah, that's all of the discussion points. I hope you understood all that. If there's anything you needed to ask any questions on or comment on, please do take the time when you do watch this this Facebook Live. And also, like I said, YouTube viewers, I'm going to be putting this on YouTube, so don't forget to subscribe to my channel, everyone. Please do go back and watch some of the YouTube videos that I put in the group, because I've put some past episodes there. This is episode 108. We were just talking about boundaries, and we've been through 5 talking points. So now what I've got for you guys, I have got some journal prompts. Hope you don't mind. But yeah, I always like to give you some journal prompts because it helps you to just expand your thinking in this topic. And it'd be great if you can comment below and tell me what came up when you... I'm just going to read them out. There's 3 of them. So the first journal prompt is, where in your life have... Say this to yourself. Where in my life have I been over-giving, over-explaining, or over-extending myself? So you're asking yourself these questions. So, is there an area in your life where you've been over-giving right now? Have you been over-explaining yourself? That's a bit of people-pleasing, isn't it? You're over-explaining something. Or overextending yourself. So you're putting yourself out there a lot. You know, you're just on the go. It's like how can I word? I'm just trying to think. What is that? It's like seeking validation in a way. You're compensating for something, you know, because something that you didn't do, or you didn't say yes to, let's say, then you start compensating for it by doing something else, because it's going to make you feel better for saying no in the first place. But yeah, that's one thing. So is there something like that going on with you? There's an honest truth to yourself, yeah? You don't necessarily need to put these in the comments, but just let me know what came up. That would be good. Just let me know. You don't have to say exactly what it is without being intrusive. I don't want to know exactly because it might be private. You can just say, oh, thank you, Lynette. This came up, this blah, blah, blah. And it made me think, blah, blah, blah. You know, you can do that sort of thing. What boundary is your soul asking you to set? So you would know deep down in your heart of hearts, you will know what boundaries you need to set. You will know where you've been falling short. You will know where you think to yourself, you know what, I need to tell my boss at work that I can't keep doing too many hours because he keeps asking me to do extra hours, and I know I can't do it because I need to be at home, you know, just relaxing and looking after my children, you know, because they're more important than a job, you know. Yeah, just giving you a little idea off the top of my head. So, you know what? So I'll repeat that one. What boundaries in my soul are asking me to... I don't know if that's worded properly. What boundaries is my soul asking me to set? So what you're asking yourself is, what boundaries is my soul asking me to set? So you will know. It will come up. You'll know. You'll know what boundaries you need to set. The last one is, how can I lovingly communicate that boundary this week with grace and clarity? So this is assuming that it's a boundary that you got to communicate to other people or to a person. So yeah, I mean, I communicated my boundary with my siblings by writing a respectful note in the WhatsApp group, didn't I? And it wasn't calling names or anything like that. It was just like telling them, I'm not accepting this, and I'm not going to respond to this, you know. So it gives them clear guidelines as to what I will accept and what I won't. So they knew exactly. So now I don't get it much. You know, I don't get it. That's because I put that boundary in place from the beginning. I just let them know I am not accepting this and I'm not going to respond to this. So yeah, those are the 3 journal prompts. And I do hope that you do take it upon yourself to journal about them. And it would be lovely to know what you guys, what direction did things change when you did decide to exercise a particular boundary that you was not exercising before. It'd be really great to hear some feedback on what came up and how it changed things. So that's it for this week. So it's episode 108, that is. And what I will say is that in total there are 10 episodes. Once I've finished all of the episodes of Back to Basics, then I will be making it into a program at some point. I'll just make it into a proper program. I might have to do the videos again, or maybe I might just use the videos anyway and put them all into a program basically, and you can just kind of watch it at your leisure. That means that if you feel used to look into this subtopic or that topic, then you go into it and you look into it. But yeah, that's the idea once I've finished them all, because a lot of this content is all relevant, very relevant, I would say, and a must. So what's coming up in the next month or two? What's coming up is I will be doing a challenge of some sort, and I'm hoping that most of this group will jump in on the challenge. I'll be publicizing it to the public, and obviously mainly I will let you guys know. Some of my email database people, I'll let them all know. It's a very good challenge actually. I mean, I would really love for you guys to be in on it, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun challenge. It's not going to even feel like a fun challenge. You're going to enjoy it basically, because that's how I run my 5-day challenges. Let's just call it that. I like the word challenge, but it's a challenge because it's something you've never really done before. That's the only reason why they call it that. But I am going to make it so fun for you guys. You're going to love it. And I'm also going to do, I'm going to be starting to pop in the group a bit more. I think I'm going to come in the group one other day in midweek, probably on a Wednesday maybe. And I will be talking about a topic that I used to talk about before, probably about before lockdown I was doing it. And it was called Tell It Like It Is. And so what I'm going to be doing there, Tell It Like It is basically talk about certain things in personal development that I had to experience when I was on my journey, especially in the early part of my self-development. So what that is basically I'm going to be telling you the truth about certain things, because there are certain things that people will have you believe, but really that's not how it is. I will be talking about all of those things in Tell It Like It Is, because it's really an eye-opener. I learned a lot of things back in the day with self-development, and I realized certain things now looking back, So I'm here as living proof to tell you guys about what to really expect on the journey. Even though a lot of it is in my experience, but I will, certain things I'll be able to say, well, it doesn't go like that. Even though they might say, do this, it's not as black and white as they say. It just isn't, and that's what they feed the masses with. They feed the majority of people with, and I was there once, believe me, so I know now. But I know now that a lot of what I practice, let's say, it's not things that it's not what the general public does. It's different. It's different stuff. A lot of it you won't find on the internet. So I'm just gonna, I think this is like between the lines, really, isn't it? It's things they don't tell you. You could say it another way. You could say whatever it says on the tin, it's not what it seems. Or don't judge a book by its cover. I don't know. I'm trying to think of another heading or something. But yeah, I'm gonna call it a day or call it a night, because it is like 10:25 here. How come I stayed on here for so long? But anyway, I know that you guys got some value. Let me know what your main takeaway was. Hopefully you will come on the replay, most of you, and I will be seeing you on next week's week 9 of Sunday school. So this week was about boundaries. I'm not going to tell you what next week's going to be about, but yeah, I might announce it during the week though. So yeah, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I will be popping into the group midweek, Wednesday, let's say, and I'll probably start off with something very light. I'm not going to start off with another episode or anything, but I'm just going to start off with something like maybe reintroduce what it is, and it will be for a short moment. It's just popping in on you guys, and yeah. just look out for what goes on in the group, and then I'll let you know what's coming up. I'll probably be putting some posts in there to show you what's coming up. So yeah, I'll bid you goodbye, and please do, just like I said, if you come on this live, give me a hashtag replay. If you was on the live itself, do me a hashtag replay, and I'll go back and I'll comment on your comments. Thank you for watching, and I will speak to you during the week. Take good care. Good night.